And what happens to crawl on my shoe? A black widow. And so I'm screaming because I'm like, I can't move because I don't want it to like... And what does my aunt do? Nothing. Not shit to help me, but say I'm being dramatic. And what is my cousin doing? Who's actually more afraid of spiders than me? Just standing as far away from me as possible.
My God.
And this went on for a long time. Like, she did nothing to help me for the longest time. And I was like, death is happening to me right now. Okay. Well, welcome to Walking the Fine Line Pod. This is episode 5.
I'm so excited.
And it is Halloween week, if you cannot tell from the change in our backgrounds.
Well, if you're on YouTube, you'll know. If you're not, go check our YouTube because we have cool decor in the back.
Yeah. And Emily, despite being... it's only Halloween clothes. I don't own Halloween clothes. So I, as of yesterday, when she went, I'm going to wear this Halloween-themed thing tomorrow, by the way. I was like, oh, I have to too. But I don't have anything. So what did I do? Pulled out the thing that she bought me that I never wear. My friends like to buy me fandom things, and it's not really my vibe to wear fandom things out and about.
Okay, no, but
it came in handy today, I guess.
We have to tell them what it is, because if you're on YouTube, you can see what it is. It's a pendant from Supernatural that I bought her, I think, for Christmas this last year.
Yeah, it's the pendant it's the amulet that Dean wears for the good first, 10-ish seasons of the show.
Okay, and I also have to state, because she's over here saying, my friends buy me this stuff that I will never use. I know you're not going to use it, but, she collects little mementos from movies and TV shows that she likes. I know she has a time turner from Harry Potter.
I do,
And I was like, well, why don't I go ahead and buy her that amulet from Supernatural, because it's a couple dollars and it'd be cute to add on to her gift.
Yeah, but then she was like, you'll wear it, right? And I was like, no. And she was like, oh. But yeah, that is true. My cousin bought me a light, well, it's an old VHS of The Lost Boys that has light strung in it. So.
Yeah, and today my outfit consists of a Beetlejuice shirt, because it's one of my favorite movies.
And the bloody bow.
Yeah, I went to Party City, and they have the coolest bows by the checkout. I'm gonna go back and get more. This one has, it's a white bow with, blood on it, and then it has a little, plastic shiny knife on it, which I think is just adorable. Well, Milan doesn't think so, but that's okay.
No, I don't, but that's okay. You do, so you do you.
It's because I get obsessive about Halloween. I just get so excited.
I saw a video actually 2 days ago where a girl from Michigan was looking out her window and she's like, when you wish for fall, but it's 90 degrees.
Yeah, no, it was 90 a week and a half ago. It was killer. Because, all the stores were, putting out their fall and Halloween decor, and I was getting psyched, and then all of a sudden we had this huge, spike in temperature, and it was, 90.
No, we did too. It got to, the good weather, the good weather where, you can wear whatever you want here, and then it got hot again, and I was like, cool. Yeah, and so I just have to wait until November, maybe mid-October, and then it will be, good weather, and then it will be cold for, a month and a half, and then it will get hot as hell again.
That makes sense.
Anyways, so, as we said, welcome to our spooky season podcast episodes. Of course, they're early for us, so we get extra Halloween. But just in, this corner of my room.
Yeah, same.
I also do have, a half dead fern, because for some reason, when it got hot again, my fern and my Venus flytrap were dying inside. But it's in a mummy. So, it looks nice. And I have to figure out how to save it now. So, Emily's obsessed with Halloween decorations to the point where it's, kind of frightening and also kind of irritating. It's that thing, where, you decorate and, you have everything done, and then they keep coming home with more things. Mm-hmm. That's Emily.
Yeah. Actually, this thing behind me right here, this like Broom Co. sign, came home with me midway through October last year after I'd already decorated the house. So,
Yeah.
actually, also that little cute candle right there, that one also came home yeah. No, Halloween is a season where you can continually add to your decorations. You just keep buying more.
Sure.
I like to thrift some of my decor though, so at least like, you know, I'm not spending all my money at Target or Michael's, Amazon. Yeah, I went a little overboard. I have like my little witches station back there too. So.
Yeah. But there was like I don't even know. There was like 3 months, I swear, last year where there were just videos upon videos of people talking about like their Halloween style.
Like their aesthetic?
Yeah, and then this year, then they started doing this theme song based Halloween style. One was like Haunted Mansion-ish, and then there was Halloween Town, which is the Halloween Town one gives me very much I don't know, what would you describe it as?
It's
Kitschy,
like
a little bit.
it's a little kitschy and a little like child friendly. Like it reminds me of like the way Disney World handles most of their Halloween decor. Like it's still
gives
bright
me
colored
pumpkin
and
spice latte
Yeah.
vibes. And then there's old school Halloween, of course, and there's also my personal favorite when I like see other people's stuff is just lights, stuff everywhere. You know, when you actually go to a haunted house, or if you've ever gone trick-or-treating in a rich neighborhood, the places that have the big candy bars, and they have the lights and all the mechanisms, that's also an aesthetic. There's one that you said is mine, and it's whatever the last one is that I didn't say.
well, like there's Haunted Mansion, but then there's also like full on just dark, creepy, like Addams Family.
Can I just point out literally every single decoration I have up, except for my books, are not mine. Like, I didn't buy them. I'd say the closest thing is like this that she bought. Maybe the RIP. That's up there that you can't see, but they can see it.
Yeah.
It makes me laugh, but I dig it.
You dig it.
It brings color into my background, otherwise everything would be black.
Yeah, I have one little tiny candle right there that's orange. Everything else is black and white. I kind of vibe with just the black and white, though. I kind of like not having any extra color. I think it looks aesthetic. Stop laughing at me in your head. That's not nice.
Anyways, next section. The things that scared us as children. But starting off, Emily.
Ah, yes, okay.
Let's talk about the thing that you never stop saying you hate because it terrified you.
I talk about this on repeat to anybody who will listen because I feel like nobody actually believes me. I think that's why.
Yeah, no, because I don't get it.
Okay.
I don't get it. But I didn't watch it as young as you did.
Yeah, so the Labyrinth, right? Or Labyrinth. I don't know. Is it the or just Labyrinth?
I'm pretty sure it's just
the Jim
Labyrinth.
Henson one. The one with the creatures.
It's on Netflix right now. Did you know that?
Yes, and I don't want to watch it. Thank you very much. Okay, so
I was going to say we should watch it.
story time. Let's just imagine Emily. Little Emily at like 4 years old. My family did a lot of vacations because, as we'll get into later, I didn't celebrate Halloween as a kid. I didn't celebrate any holidays as a kid. So we did a lot of vacations, which was great. But like my whole family, and as I've mentioned previously, I have uncles that are about 12 to 14 years older than me. So we were going on vacation. We were in a van, and we were like traveling as a family in this van and like another car behind us. But I wanted to be in that van because I could take naps in the back seat. It had one of those fold-down bench bars that I love so much. So I would sleep back there when they didn't want to pull over for nap time or overnight even sometimes. So there was a TV in the front because it was a real fancy van for the year 2000. And my uncles were super into just watching movies. And typically my grandmother, like, limited them to what they were allowed to watch in front of me because they were, you know, if I was 4, then, you know, the younger one was, like, 16. So, like, they had to be moderated a little bit because otherwise they would put stuff on that I wasn't allowed to watch, let alone willing to watch.
That's fair.
But on this specific trip, the youngest one and a friend was with him, and they thought that I was going to go down for a nap. Well, I couldn't sleep because everyone was loud because we're in a van, right? And it wasn't quiet hours.
Mm-hmm.
So they put on a movie assuming I wasn't going to pay any attention, and they put on Labyrinth. Doesn't seem like a big deal, right? But I was scared shitless, okay? Because I'm watching this movie, and, like, from my point of view, I don't know who... Isn't it David Bowie who's in it? I don't know who David Bowie is. I'm 4. Like, what... I don't know who that is. All I see is that it's a person on the screen that looks creepy with big hair and eyeliner and...
Does David Bowie scare you now?
Just in that movie. Like, just... So, like, from my point of view, there's this creepy creature who showed up, who's kind of human, but doesn't really truly look like any of the humans I've ever really seen at 4 years old, who's taking the baby brother from this older sister, and then all these creepy creatures start appearing when she goes to find him. And, dude, like, that was enough for me to be like, I can't ever... I was, like, paranoid. Okay, I also had a little brother that had just been born at that point. My brother's, like, 4 years younger than me. So, I was, like... paranoid that someone was going to come steal my little brother from me because he was not even a year old, and I was terrified.
That's
terrified
awful.
I was going to lose him. And then the creatures, and then the David Bowie, oh my god, dude, I still, even thinking about it, like, my heart rate just rose. Like, I can feel it. Like, it scares me still thinking about it because of, like, just the innate fear it drove into my soul as a child. Like...
No, I feel you. There are things that also kind of freak me out like that. Okay, so...
Dude,
This is a
I begged for them to turn that movie off. I begged. For, like, 30 minutes straight. Begged them to turn it off. And my grandmother told me just to roll over and ignore it. Do you know how many weird sounds are in that movie?
Yeah, Emily, for some reason, despite, like, being a person that will ruin movies for people... by, like, saying, well, obviously this is gonna happen. Like, she does that sometimes.
Not always. I'm not that bad. If someone's never seen it before, I usually try not to say anything.
No, but you do it when you're with other film people.
Yeah. No, I do it with other film people.
And the stupidest thing about that is that she's capable of doing that, yet a fucking horror sting scares the living shit out of her.
It's the sound! It's the music!
It's literally the most predictable thing in the world. They use it to scare you. And that's the thing that scares her out of everything in the movie.
I know. And I, like, even as an adult, I'm aware that, like, the music is kind of what's triggering you to be scared. Like, so much of, like, why you get, like, scared in a movie is because of the music. Like, I've watched... There's a really cool documentary I watched about, I think it was either Halloween or Friday the 13th. I can't remember which one it was, but, like... They were talking about how before they had the soundtrack they went with, nobody was scared of it.
I'm assuming you're talking about Halloween, because I feel like Halloween has the most iconic
we'll go with it. I think I watch a lot of documentaries. I don't know what I watch half the time. But yeah, so they talked about how before they had the final soundtrack, they had, like, a temp in, and it didn't scare anybody. Like, nobody was scared of the entire movie. They had a test audience, and it flopped. And then they went in and did the soundtrack, and it was, like... so incredibly scary afterwards. Like, the comparison and, like, the audience's reactions was crazy. But yeah, sorry.
You know, the Halloween score doesn't scare me, but okay, so there was some movie, I think it was it could have been both, truly. There's a few songs that people use in horror films that freak me out. Or just in gory whatever. I think it was in a Final Destination movie, but I think it was also in, like, one of the remakes of one of the Halloween movies. It's this song that's like, there's someone walking behind you. That's what it says. And, like, there's nothing, it doesn't matter whether or not the song sounded creepy or what's happening on the screen is creepy. When you have that thought anyways, it sends you into sheer panic mode. It's like when people turn off the light in the basement and then run up the stairs. So, like, I think that is probably the worst I've ever felt with any score or soundtrack or anything in a horror film. but also that's because I know that if I hear the sounds, something's gonna happen. And then Emily sometimes will be like, oh my god, this movie, and this is scary. And I'm like, yeah, because you've covered your eyes every single time any sound happens. So you didn't see anything.
Oh my god. You're just calling me out today. Jesus.
There's literally, I think it had to have been, I mean, Insidious 1 and 2. You covered your eyes quite a bit. Really, but I think it was Haunting in Connecticut 2 or that something. One? I'm pretty sure your eyes were covered about 95% of the movie.
I think they were too. Yeah, I don't know. Okay. We're going to talk about some of our favorite movies on our next episode, and I think you'll understand why I don't like those types of movies, because the types of movies I like is very specific. So,
yeah. But so, one of my fears is it's multifaceted.
Multifaceted.
It is. So, this is the origin of this fear. There are 3 reasons why I have this fear. And we actually did mention that I had a weird thing about mirrors.
Yeah, Milan has a really weird thing about mirrors, which honestly I kind of agree with sometimes. Mirrors just give off bad vibes sometimes.
Yeah. But, so, my issue was, gosh, and this is going to send me into, like, a slight panic just talking about it, because I've watched, like, somebody just say it in a video on TikTok, and I was like, oh god. But when I was little, both of my 2 out of the 3 schools that I went to were built in the early 1900s. And so people had a lot of, rumors that they'd make up about the school and all types of bad vibes. And the way my bathroom in my elementary school was built is there was, like, this huge box that, like, had all the, pipes and stuff behind the toilets in it, which clearly now I understand that, right? But as a kid, there's this huge box that sounds hollow behind all these toilets. And and all the kids would be like, yeah, there are bodies in there.
Oh my god.
And I was a kid that was afraid of everything, but would still watch everything. Why I did that, I don't know. But they'd make up all these things, and then one of this girl who I was friends with at the time, she's the one that told us all about that person, when you say their name. We're not going to say anything now.
You mean the one for the mirror?
Just to make that clear.
Like there's a queen in Scotland with the same name.
Don't say it. Yes, don't say it. Don't say it.
I don't understand why you honestly... I won't say it, but Milan. Like, we're 25 years old.
It gives me
25.
panic. I feel like it's a trigger because of this girl. Because she would do it all the time. So our bathroom was weird. For one, you could lock it from both sides.
Okay. Like the main door or like the stall doors?
The main door.
I suppose that's like a safety feature.
And the lights were all the way by the main door. And when I say this bathroom was huge, think of any high school classroom and probably triple the size of it. Like, these bathrooms were huge. And we were tiny kids, right? So she would turn off the lights and then start saying it after telling us the story of what this person does if she shows up, right? And she would do it while we were, like, peeing or something. And then everyone would start screaming, and she'd do it all the time. And she's done it when we were in the bathroom just by ourselves, like, because we had to go with buddies. So sometimes it'd just be 2 of us, and she'd, and she'd done it a lot. So it mentally scarred me a little bit, But then, fun fact, not long after that, well, no, it was actually quite a while after that. It was a few years after that. What happens to be the first episode of Supernatural I ever stumble upon? That one. And let me tell you, that episode of Supernatural makes it very scary. Didn't enjoy that shit. And chose to not pretend that show didn't exist until college after that. Fun. And then, in maybe middle school, I don't know when it was, a trailer comes out, right? The first time I'm seeing it, because the only time that these trailers I felt like on MTV or ABC Family that were like horror films would show was at night. I swear to you. And what is it but the trailer for a movie called Mirrors, which I refuse to ever watch, in which the first image, I don't even remember what the actual first image is, but all I remember is a girl's looking in the mirror at herself. And she, like, her reflection starts smiling at her. And she's like, what the
You know, I think I might have actually seen that movie, because I remember panicking over something
you might
similar.
have. But I feel like stuff like that happens in a lot of horror films. But she proceeded to her mirror reflection grab her upper and lower jaw and rip her face open. And her reflection, she's looking at her reflection do this, and then dies. She just dies.
Yeah, I think I watched that with my friends in high school, where I refused to look at the screen the entire movie. That sounds absolutely terrifying.
So after that,
like,
I was
absolutely terrifying.
really, 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 really not cool with mirrors. And it's stayed that way since then. And then I saw Oculus. And it made it worse. Okay, Emily. Next.
Yes. Yeah, Milan, I think the only thing worse with you than the mirrors is the spiders, which I did leave some in my background just for you. I don't know if you noticed.
Didn't. I wasn't looking.
Oh, right. Okay, so another thing that scared me as a child. Actually, I feel like a lot of my the things that scared me as a child actually have something to do with those same uncles. I was always at their house. I spent a lot of time with my grandmother. Yeah, thank you so much to my uncles for literally, like, just terrifying me as a child, no matter what you seemed to do. What you watched, what your rooms looked like, it didn't matter. Like, you just, everything. But, so when I would go stay at my grandparents' house, which was pretty much all the time, my parents both worked a lot, so I ended up at their house, because my uncles could watch me if my grandma had to leave or had to work, and it just kind of worked out well. So, nap time, I always had to go into one of their rooms. I don't know why. There was other bedrooms. I don't know why I always had to nap in one of their rooms.
Because you wanted to, probably.
But you'd think so, but after the story, you're probably going to be like, why would you ever want to? So for a while, I ended up staying in the older one's bedroom, and because this was on the first floor, so it was easier to get to me when I was younger. And in his room, in the back corner of the room, was this poster. And, like, all I remember about it is that it looked like a goalie, like a hockey goalie. Like a goaltender, Goalkeeper, sorry. And it just creeped me out. Like, I remember, like, I probably should try to, like, look it up online and see if I can actually figure out what it's from. But there wasn't any true eyes behind the mask.
I always just think you're talking about Jason.
Everyone does, but I swear to you, it doesn't look like Jason. Like, I've seen the original one, right? It doesn't look like Jason. But it's like, they have, like, the mask on with the helmet. But it was, like, the old school mask, like Jason, but not Jason. And I swear to you, even though there was no eyes, that thing fucking watched you. It watched you. It followed you around the room. 4 or 5-year-old Emily's going, what the? No. And this thing, it was probably like, 24 by 36 poster up in the back corner. But no matter where you were in that room, it was watching you. And I would have, like, this probably should have let my family know ahead of time that I had anxiety as a child, because I would full on, like, work myself up into, like, a panic attack as a child. Because I swear to you, this thing was watching me, and I would start, like, hyperventilating and crying. Eventually, he took the poster down. I don't know what it was from. It could have been Jason, for all I know. Did he take the poster down
because you were scared?
I don't know if he did because of that or not, but eventually it came down. But that was after I started taking naps in the other brother's room, because I could not sleep in that room.
You should ask him and see if he even remembers.
I wonder if I probably could ask either of them and they would probably know. I don't know. But that poster was terrifying. Like, don't do that. Do not do that to your nieces. Don't do it. Don't hang up creepy stuff that follows them when they're in your bedroom.
What do you mean? It's not his fault. You wanted to sleep in his room.
I don't think I did. I think they literally put me in that room because it was the only bedroom on the first floor. I think that's why I ended up in that bedroom, because I was easier to get to than putting me upstairs. Also, second note, that same uncle had a snake in his room as well. He had a pet snake named Aphrodite that was... When he finally had to let her go, she was, I want to say, like 15 or 17 foot long. She was so cool. But again, they put a small child in a room with a creepy poster that followed you, that made me hate hockey players until I was much older, and a 12-foot snake that very much could get out of her cage when she wanted to.
Nice.
So, thanks so much, Graham. Loved taking naps as a child.
It's not your grandma's
She's gonna watch
fault
this
either.
and be like, she's the one who put me in that room.
Well, I don't know what to tell you. Sounds like a person.
I don't know, man. I've got plenty of stories about things that those two did to me that just terrified me or tortured me as a child.
Yeah.
So, okay, your turn. Okay. What's next?
Well, so Emily mentioned I have slight arachnophobia.
Slight?
I mean, there was this spider in my room like a week ago, and my throat got real dry, and I got real hot because I lost it.
Okay, Milan, one time you woke me up from a dead asleep because you found a spider in your bedroom.
Yes, and?
You woke me up from a dead asleep to come kill a spider smaller than the size of a quarter.
Yeah.
Like, it was small, like, including the legs, tiny.
Yeah, and?
And Milan was like, Emily, wake up. Like, yes? I guess I'm awake. You need to come kill the spider. I literally walked in there with a flip-flop, whacked the wall, and walked out. And Milan was still like your breathing had changed because you were so nervous about this thing being near your room. Like, in your room near your bed.
Yeah. One thing I look for in a future partner is you have to kill the spider, because if it doesn't get killed, I will think that I'm dying.
Okay, well, explain why, because...
Okay.
You say small fear, I think large fear. I think it's a large fear.
Oh.
I think it's up there with mirrors.
So, God. When I was a kid, my dad seems to remember me not having a fear of spiders at all. And he always says, well, your mom used to tell you not to touch them, and so I think that made you scared. And you know what? It might have. I really doubt it, because I don't remember anything about that. And the things that scared me, it's ingrained in my memory why it scares me. So there's a documentary that my dad was watching one time, as he does. My dad watches documentaries and, I don't know, science and history-based shows all the time. He also watches sci-fi a lot. But, I always, at night, like when I was a kid, I couldn't do it. I couldn't do it. Being alone by myself and just letting my thoughts just spin wasn't a good vibe for me. So I'd like pretend that I had nightmares all the time with both of my parents, so they would stay there until I was asleep. And my dad refused to do that, truly. So I would always end up having to go into the family room and sit with him until I fell asleep. And sometimes he'd like play the guitar for me or do something cute, you know? That's his vibe, or like juggle. But sometimes he would be watching, you know, these documentaries. The worst was when he was watching Ghost Hunters or something. And then I hear the story about like how all these people were murdered in this house or whatever. But and I'm like, they were what? He did what now? That's awful. Is somebody gonna murder us? You know. But anyways, one of the documentaries he was watching, I don't remember exactly what it was about. It's about some ancient peoples of some land. And a way that they found to relieve pressure from the brain from some specific disease that was an issue at the time was by like drilling a hole into the head. And the whole documentary is about describing how they did this back then without advanced tools. But meanwhile, right, while you're watching these types of documentaries, they have these stupid cutaways that have no reason to be there at all. And one was, and in this one, they had this table, like this dark, like, black cherry table that had, like, a book on it and, like, a freaking, like, globe, like, you know, that type of vibe. And then there was a skull on it, right? But of course, in my head, right, they're talking about these dead people, right? And they're talking about their skulls. And so I'm looking at the skull and I'm like, that's the dead person's skull. I don't know how old I was. I was young. And then what happens? But a tarantula crawls over it. I was like, oh, spiders equal death. Cool. Got you. I've got it. Good to know. And then I go to school and I'm traumatized and I'm talking about this. And then my friend, the friend who also used to do the thing in the bathroom, brings her pet tarantula to school for like show and tell day. I preferred the hermit crabs that my other friend had. Didn't like the tarantula so much. And then because she brought it in, right? And everybody was panicking. Yeah. She decided to tell us, you know, well, this tarantula is not dangerous because of this, that, and the other. These are spiders that are dangerous because blah, blah, blah. And then these are what they look like, right? How the heck a 6-year-old or a 7-year-old knew all this information? Couldn't tell you.
That must have been her special interest.
One of them, yeah. And then what happens? But maybe a few days later, I'm standing in my backyard with my cousin and my aunt, waiting for her to unlock the door to the house. And what happens to crawl on my shoe? A black widow.
Oh my god.
And I lose it. Because, you know, what did she tell us? Black widows. Death. You know? And so I'm screaming. Because I'm like, I can't move. Because I don't want it to like... And what does my aunt do? Nothing. Not shit to help me, but say I'm being dramatic. And what is my cousin doing? Who's actually more afraid of spiders than me? Just standing as far away from me as possible.
My god.
And this went on for a long time. Like, she did nothing to help me. For the longest time. And I was like, death is happening to me right now.
Death is happening to you right now.
Yes.
Because there was a spider on your shoe.
Yeah, that's also how I felt last week, to be clear.
When you saw the spider,
yes.
Yeah.
So
did you have to kill the spider last week, or did you go get someone
I
to
tried to kill it, and then it disappeared.
Oh, that's worse.
That's, you know. I lost it. Also, so after that, I started having all these dreams about spiders all the time. Mm-hmm. One was like I was at my grandma's house and we were walking into the house and like a spider like fell on me and into my shirt and like bit me, and then there was one where, oh, by the way, I saw a TikTok where there was a huge ass spider on a cat's head and I wanted to cry. I was like, the cat's gonna die. Which I wasn't the only one that felt that way. Everybody in the comments also felt that way, so I'm not weird. I had a dream.
What side of TikTok are you on?
Funny things, fandom things mostly, and then randomly at night, like cats and dogs. Yeah.
Odd.
It just like switches. I don't get it. But so like those were very common. And then what does little 6-year-old me go and see with my dad? Chamber of Secrets.
Harry Potter Chamber of Secrets, for those of you who don't know Harry Potter like we do. Yeah.
That's the spider one.
Yeah, it's the one with the big spider. I think Aragog, right?
Yeah, Aragog and all his children.
Yeah. There's a lot of them.
And, you know, this is also when I decided that Ron was my favorite because he understood my pain. But then, the worst of it, which is the first time I actually panicked, was within a 5-month period, right? My
Okay.
teacher, who I had in 7th grade, decided that for the first time she was going to let her pet tarantula out onto the desk for all the kids that wanted to see it, right? And this tarantula, first of all, is an illegal tarantula. It flicks the hair off of its back into predators' eyes and blinds them. Right, so this is information I have. As it is crawling across my desk, and everyone would think, just back away. But when you have a fear like that, it's paralyzing. So I'm crying and not able to do anything about it. Literally nothing. And then 7th grade ends, 8th grade starts. I make a friend. Go to her house. What does her mom have? 2 tarantulas. And then what happens when I go to sleep that night when I go home? I have a dream about a flying spider chasing me, and I can't get away from it. And that is also now a recurring dream.
Now, have you considered seeing a specialist to help you deal with that? Like a hypnotherapist or something, just to kind of like help minimize that fear since it's so bad?
No, I haven't really thought about it.
Maybe in the future. Just a thought. Like, because if it continues to get worse the way it has, that could be problematic.
Yeah, it could.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Just a little.
So, Emily.
Oh, yeah. Okay, so, like I said, it's kind of funny that the last one for you had to, like, created dreams, because this one also created dreams for me. It has to do with another movie that usually is child-friendly and everybody enjoys, and nobody understands why I have fears around silly things.
No, I get your fear for this, too. I had a fear, too.
Okay, good. So, my mom was literally obsessed with The Wizard of Oz, and I think everybody now knows exactly where I'm going with this.
Yeah.
So, obsessed with The Wizard of Oz. Anytime she was feeling a little out of sorts or upset, she thought it was a great idea to go ahead and pop that movie on at night, like after I'd gone to bed. And the thing is that I was really good at telling when my parents were upset when I was a kid. And if I knew my mom was upset and she was going to stay up late watching that movie, I was usually able to, like, sneak down the hallway and peer around the corner to, like, see if she was watching it, and I never wanted my mom to feel bad. And I was, again, like, I probably was only, like, 3. It was before my brother was born. He was born when I was 4. So I was maybe just 4 years old, because she was, like, pregnant and, like, you know, cleaning the house and watching the movie at night. And sometimes she'd, like, sit down. So I would, like, sneak out there, and eventually she'd catch me and let me, like, sit and watch the movie with her. However, at 4, The Wicked Witch of the West is the scariest thing I'd ever seen in my entire life.
Yep.
Because I don't know why. I don't know if it was like her like facial features. Like her being green didn't really bother me. I think it was more like the voice. It was just
the concept of her being evil, right?
Maybe. Yeah, and like she had flying monkeys.
Her voice,
like, her voice. Yeah, her voice was definitely one of them. And I'll probably talk about this again, but like I have a thing about eyes. And her eyes were just kind of a little, I don't know if they had contacts in them or if she was just that good of an actress, because I remember looking at her eyes and thinking she was just evil. Like, just evil. Like, there was no other word. And again, this woman had flying monkeys. Yeah. Only someone truly evil could have flying monkeys and live in that creepy of a castle.
Yeah.
So,
but you know, that's not a weird fear. Most people were afraid of her. That's why, like, after she played that part, people like were like
children were scared to go up to her. Yeah.
And she used to be a teacher, poor lady.
Yeah. I've watched a lot of documentaries on the Wizard of Oz because my mom was so obsessed. So there's a lot of interesting stories. Yeah.
She was like a little kid's like preschool or like elementary school teacher. Yeah. And then became the most scary woman to children.
Yeah, children couldn't even approach her. They knew who she was. But this goes back to Milan making fun of me for covering my eyes, because this is where it stems from. Because I would do this, and then I'd, like, peek through. I'd be like, I don't want to watch, but, like, what's happening? Like, and sometimes when it was too bad, if I was having, like, if it just was too scary that night, because, again, this was always, like, I don't know, 9 or 10 o'clock at night for a 4-year-old. It's kind of fucking late. So she would, like, I would cover my eyes, and she would tell me when she was gone so I could open them, and I'd, like, double check that she wasn't lying before I opened them all the way. But this fear, and of course my mom watched this movie probably once a week at some points in my life, and I would sit there with her quite a few of those times. This led to me having really bad dreams. Luckily, I never had the kind of bad dreams my little brother ended up having. He had, like, dreams where trees were chasing him, and they were evil. That's probably also comes from the Wizard of Oz, because, you know, the Wizard of Oz trees can, like, throw things at you and, like, reach for you and stuff. Yeah, so my brother had way worse dreams. Like, he'd wake up screaming. Luckily, I'd never had those. But I did end up having this one dream that was probably... It rates up there my top 5 scariest dreams. Maybe we'll cover that at some point for Halloween, like your top scariest dreams or whatever. But in my top 5 is this one because I was in the house we were living at the time, and someone had knocked on the back door, and I, like, went to the back door in this dream, and I opened the back door, and it was these people from Star Trek, because my dad watched Star Trek. And, like, they wanted me to come with them, and I knew I shouldn't leave. I didn't want to leave my parents, but they were like, you need to come with us. You need to come with us. And I didn't understand, and I went to the front door, and there was something else at the front door who was trying to, like, take me to. And I don't remember what that was, but then I was like, the only place I can go is the basement. And this was, like, a really old house that was in my family for a really long time. And it was only, like, 1 floor, 2 bedrooms, but the basement was completely unfinished. And really damp and dark and creepy, like the things that childhood nightmares are made of.
Yeah.
And I, like, went down the stairs in this dream and went to the left, and there was this old woman who looked like a witch. She had, like, you know, like a house coat on and, like, a, she just, I don't know, she looked like an old-fashioned witch that you would see in, like, a Hansel and Gretel story. And it scared the living daylights out of me because I thought she was just like the witch in the movie. And she was gonna hurt me. But she kept trying to tell me that she was there to help me. She was there to help me.
Mm-hmm.
And I didn't understand what was going on. Actually, what's really creepy is later on... Sorry, my headphones just died. What's really creepy is later on, once I told my parents the story, like, when I got into maybe middle school, when I was old enough to fully understand what was going on in that dream and be able to, like, verbalize it, they ended up pulling out a picture of my great-grandmother who had lived in that house previously to us. And the witch in the basement that I was so convinced was just like the witch in The Wizard of Oz was actually that grandmother. Like, I looked at the picture and I went, that's her. That's the lady that was in my dream when I was a kid. And she was long dead. She had been dead for quite a while. So that was even more creepy on top of it, that I'd had a dream about this old lady who'd lived in the house who I thought was a witch, and it turned out to be my grandmother. Like, it was weird. But even today, like, when I watch Wizard of Oz, I still have, like, that minor panic when she first shows up on screen, like I'm a kid again.
Yeah, I think things that scare you as a kid, they're kind of hard for you to get over.
Yeah.
You know? So, my last one isn't, like, a specific movie. It's just a category, which is old Disney movies. There's just something about those, like, under wraps and Don't Look Under the Bed and parts of, which one is it? The 13th Year. Yeah. That just, Phantom of the Megaplex. That just didn't work for me, personally. Emotionally, they didn't work for me. Okay, so that is the end of this week's podcast. Just like every other week, please like and comment and share the podcast from wherever you are listening to it. If you are listening to it on a podcast streaming platform, please give it 5 stars and let us know what you would like to hear from us. If you're on YouTube, comment below. Maybe write a movie or a TV show that gave you a strong fear that you have possibly not fully gotten over. And we will see you next week for a lot more Halloween.
Happy October! That's what we should say.
Weeks.
Happy October. My favorite time of year. We'll see you next week.
All right. Bye.